What is going on, guys? This is Mike Williams from Cartoon Universe, and it's been a hot minute since we did anything Steven Universe related, so we're going to dive right back into it with an actual follow-up from a video we did a few years back now, back in mid-2016, I believe, where we talked about possible fusion weapons. So in Change Your Mind, we actually got a nice, chunky, juicy handful of brand new fusions via Steven and Garnet, Steven and Pearl, and of course all the OG original Crystal Gems, including Steven, fusing together to make Obsidian. And that was super dope, super fan servicey. I loved it. And obviously fusions are a big part of the show. Everyone loves speculating about fusions and what the combinations would be, and there's a lot of different combinations. And I figured it'd be fun to bring back the old video that we did a while ago where we were talking about possible fusion weapons of different combinations that we haven't seen yet, and kind of dive into some new ones that we may be able to talk about and kind of analyze a little bit more, and maybe a couple new gems that we didn't actually see yet. A few things, this is not in any particular order, it's not organized in any particular way, just kind of off the cuff what I thought of in the moment. And also, this is not every possible combination left. We may do a part 3 at some point, maybe in another 2.5 years, might do that. But for now, this is what we're doing. There's some combinations I just couldn't really think of anything that would really make sense, because at the end of the day, there are some gems that don't actually combine their weapons together and form something new. Some gems just have two different weapons, i.e. Malachite had Jasper's helmet and Lapis's water powers and water wings, and then Alexandrite just has a bunch of different combinations of the fusions that she's already made up of. So some fusions don't have anything unique, so I left some out that I thought might not actually make sense, but I also added some that I thought could make sense. But anyway, onto the list of fusion weapons that I possibly came up with. So first we have Bismuth and Steven. So Bismuth's a kind of weird case because her quote-unquote weapon is a giant hammer that she shapeshifts out of her arm. So it's really not her quote-unquote gem weapon, but I like to think because Bismuth is a blacksmith, so to speak, that her hammer is actually a little more powerful or useful than the average gem could actually make it through shape-shifting. I don't know. Just for the sake of argument, we're acting as if Bismuth's weapon is her hammer because that is how she forges everything. Obviously, she can just forge her own weapon and do any sort of combination imaginable, but just for the sake of argument, we're pretending it's the giant hammer. So with Bismuth and Steven, I would imagine it would be some sort of framing hammer, so it's a little more rounded at the tip, and then towards the back, it would actually kind of curve a little bit, giving it sort of sword-like qualities. It would obviously be a lot bigger than just Bismuth mallet, so I think it would just kind of change in shape, where Steven's shield will kind of round out the front end of the hammer. And then there's Peridot and Garnet. So this one's actually pretty interesting, I thought of. I feel like because Peridot, as far as we know, her only actual ability is to control metal and whatnot, and she doesn't actually have a weapon as of yet. So I think it'd be really cool if she could sort of manipulate and convert the quote-unquote metal in Garnet's gauntlets into different things. Maybe she could have drill gauntlets or manipulate it into claw gauntlets or some combination or anything else that might actually change the properties of the gauntlet themselves. I think that'd be really cool. And then Lapis and Garnet, this one's super dope. I thought it would be cool if the fusion had some sort of Blastoise type situation where the gauntlets were actually turned into sort of pipe cannons that could shoot giant, super heavy, super powerful bursts of water. I think that'd be really cool, and it could also serve as the gauntlets themselves in addition to that, so it would kind of have a dual purpose. And then we have Jasper and Pearl. This one would definitely be some sort of unicorn spear. It's got a helmet that has a giant spear or sharp thing coming out of the edge of it and just trying to ram people with their giant sharp head. I'm down for that. Then Jasper and Amethyst, so this could go a couple different ways. It could just be a spiky helmet because of the whip, but it also could possibly be some sort of Medusa situation, so maybe a bunch of different sharp vines are just kind of protruding out of the helmet and they can be manipulated and controlled, so you have a bunch of different crazy whips popping out of the helmet all at once. That'd be sick. And then there's Bismuth and Pearl, just some sort of arrow cannon. Pearl's spear kind of acts as arrows, and then you have Bismuth, the mallet maybe converts into some sort of cannon that can shoot arrows. Bismuth and Amethyst I could see just as a regular hammer with spikes, nothing too crazy. Maybe it's a little more versatile, a little more agile than Bismuth's hammer really is right now. You can stretch a little farther, stretch a little faster because of the whip properties, maybe. Then there's Topaz and Steven. So this one, Topaz has a giant Q-tip, essentially, which is actually just a staff. So I would imagine at the two ends of the staff, Steven's shield kind of makes it rounded and heavy and bulky, and it could just become a giant weight, just a big dumbbell. I know it's not really a weapon, but I love to picture just a Steven Topaz meathead fusion carrying around a giant dumbbell. At the end of the day, Steven and Garnet's fusion, they had suction cups. That's not really a weapon either. So why not a dumbbell? Then Aquamarine and Steven. So I picture Aquamarine's stick thing. Again, I don't know if that's technically the gem weapon, but it might be an add-on. So we'll just go with it. I'd imagine this as sort of a spinning top. So you have the stick and then you have Steven's shield acting as the edge, which creates a top. And I imagine if you spin it around, it can shoot a bunch of different beams and lasers and maybe even use the telekinesis beams, but just in rapid succession in the 360-degree way. Like that, it would just kind of be broken. It would be for like large sums of enemies in a war zone or something. And the last one I came up with was Steven and Eyeball. Eyeball has the little dagger. So I picture Steven's shield at the edge of the dagger, creating maybe some sort of dart or just series of darts, because we know that Smoky Quartz actually had multiple yo-yos, so it's possible that this Eyeball Steven fusion would possibly be able to use a bunch of different darts just to throw at people. That'd be pretty painful, but you know. But that's pretty much it for that. What did you guys think about these possible Steven Universe fusion weapon ideas? Do you agree with them, disagree with some of them, have any ideas that I didn't think of, any combinations that we didn't think of, or you might actually want to see in a possible third part, because there's a lot of combinations that we could possibly do. Definitely want to know what you think in the comments down below. If you're new here, definitely subscribe, hit the notification bell, because we're going to be doing more Steven stuff, and you don't want to miss that part 3 that's going to release in, you know, 2.5 years. It's gonna be a really dope time. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a like. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I've been Michael Williams. You've been watching Cartoon Universe, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.